Okay, so thanks to all of you that are tuning in this evening. And we will start with our plant form, and we have some really fun things tonight. So starting with, we have two different species of Haemanthus, which are bulbs from Southern and South Africa. And Sandy Masuo has these, as you can see, growing in a container. Both of them make wonderful, wonderful container plants and actually flower best when they're crowded in their containers. So you can be mean to them and keep them in the same pot for years and enjoy them. So Haemanthus albiflos is one of the very few species, and there are more than 20 species of Haemanthus that occurs in both winter and summer rainfall areas. And it's also a rare one that is evergreen. So the other common name on this that I found was elephant's tongue or elephant's ear, I'm forgetting, but it's because the leaves get grayish, and so they're very attractive. So this is an evergreen bulb. It can start flowering in the spring, you know how things are, or in autumn or winter. And you can see this is winter, autumn flowering right now. It is in a cactus and succulent mix, which is recommended for bulbs like this. But it is a pretty forgiving thing. If you have decent drainage in your garden, you could put it in the ground. The next one that we're going to look at, the Haemanthus coccineus, actually can take quite a bit of sun. But both of these would probably prefer some dappled shade, especially if you are inland. So if you're in this one of the inland valleys, really easy to grow. In terms of sourcing these, Telos Rare Bulbs, which is a mail order company, has them both. And then I would check out cactus and succulent sales. You can find some really cool bulbs at the cactus and succulent sales that are held all over the place. So the next one is Haemanthus coccineus, which is the blood lily. And this guy flowers before the leaves come out. So, and this is a winter rainfall species. So it does very well in our area, especially in the ground, because we have winter rainfall, and when it's hot, we have drought, which is what this thing likes. Flowering or fruiting season, well, it can be spring and summer, but here we are in the fall with this one flowering. So once again, growing in a cactus succulent mix in a container, but you can try this in the ground. This is an incredibly forgiving plant. It's really a fun thing to grow, and the flowers are just spectacular when they come in. I did read one little thing. I'm not going to go into that. We didn't get that on here, Alexis. I forgot that Telos also carries this bulb, or you can find it at Cactus and Succulents sales. So next, well, this is really fun. We don't usually have fungi, but this is an unusual fungus. It was seen growing in the mulch at the Huntington, which is where you will find it. It's actually native to Australia, but it's naturalized all over the world, including in California. On the right, you can see that it's got an unusual biological shape, and then it ends up smelling really, really nasty, which will attract the flies and the slugs that like to come and eat it and therefore pollinate it. So you just may have, this is not something that you can find, but it may show up in your mulch somewhere. And it's kind of fun to have something that is not a standard flowering plant. So this is your lantern stinkhorn fungus or your lizard claw fungus. Anyway, something fun to watch for in your garden. Now we have two different salvias, two different sages. This is one of my favorite plants, Salvia discolor. There are no truly black flowers or truly blue flowers in nature. So this one looks really black on the plant, especially in contrast with what literature describes as pistachio green calyx. And it's just a spectacular combination. The leaves are tacky when you touch them. Very, very fragrant. I would say if you're inland, you want to make sure you've got partial shade. And Laura is growing this along the coast where it rarely freezes. It is actually from high elevation in the Andes, but still will freeze if it goes below 32 or 30 in our area. Um, it's listed as an open shrub, but it's actually a scandent shrub, and it does really well in a container or a big hanging basket. So think about using it in that way. Um, where available, could not find a source for it, but it shows up at plant sales. So I would check the Huntington plant sales for sure. But the growers that we know are not growing it right now. It's not a long-lived plant in this area. It really prefers a different climate, but just keep looking for it and you might find it. Another salvia with a really interesting background. This is Salvia generiflora Tequila, and it comes from Mexico. There are records of it growing up to 25 feet down there. Laura's is growing on see, what do we got here? Is growing on a fence in her yard, and it's up to 15 feet. This is definitely frost tender. So along the coast, it can get up to that size. In the inland valleys, if you get a good frost, it's probably gonna want to cut it back every year or so, and keep it in control that way. Wonderful hummingbird plant, as you can imagine. The story behind it is that, let's see if I can remember this, 1970, people from the Huntington Botanical Gardens went down to Mexico and they collected this plant. They named it Tequila. And so in terms of availability, Annie's Annuals does carry it on occasion. Right now, what they do have in stock, they're listing, is Salvia generiflora mole poblano, which was the other one that the Huntington selected that was a seedling of tequila. And they may very well just both be just tequilas is the latest on this. But partial shade, I actually grew this in it got morning sun in Van Nuys and took a little bit of water. It's not a drought tolerant sage, but really, really wonderful to have in the garden. And let's see what's next. Okay, this is our last entry. This is a California native and one of the most satisfying and beautiful to grow. I love that Laura has this growing in her parking strip, her what she's calling it, her street medium, her health strip. So this is Ashy-leaf buckwheat, which is native to Southern California, both on, I believe, on the Channel Islands, but also in this area in Southern California. And it's a small shrub, gets about 3 by 4, 3 feet high by about 4 feet wide. And summer into fall puts out these beautiful pinkish flowers that age to a nice brown. And just a wonderful, wonderful plant. And of course, all Eriogonums, all buckwheats are important for attracting and supporting pollinators and a whole raft of other little beasties. So you want to put this in a dry, sunny spot. Now would be a great time to plant it before our expected winter rains. And Laura's got on here this host for the blue butterfly. I'm not sure which blue butterfly, because there are several, and I did not do the research to figure it out. But yeah, you'll get lots of butterflies and lots of all sorts of other insects on any kind of buckwheat that you put in. This is widely available at native plant nurseries. And lastly, our last slide is to, come on. Well, our last slide is to say thank you to all the people that contributed to this very interesting plant forum. And in December, we will not have a plant forum. at the December meeting, but we will have one at the January meeting, and that will be held at Friendship Auditorium. So we invite you to bring all of your wonderful things from your garden, and don't worry about identifying it if you don't know what it is. That's what other people will help you with when you get to the meeting. So bring lots of stuff in. Show how beautiful our winter gardens can be in Southern California. Thanks a lot. Now I'm going to turn it back over to Laura or to Carol. I'm not sure which.
Okay, I think it's me.
Hi, Carol.
Hi. Well,
Take it
thank you.
away.